Jenelle Evans goes on insane rant. What did her mum do this time? If you're familiar with Teen Mum 2, if you've ever seen a single scene from the show or even just vaguely notice headlines in the tabloids, you know this one thing. Jenelle Evans does not particularly care for her mother, Barbara. They've always had a troubled relationship, and Jenelle has said that even when she was a child, she never felt like Babs was really there for her. Things got more tense between them after she gave birth to her son, Jace, and then refused to take the tiniest amount of responsibility for him, and they got worse when Barbara legally took custody of him. Over the years, Barbara got custody of Jace when he was just a few months old, and he's 8 now. Things got worse as Jenelle delved deeper into addiction and crime. And they just sort of exploded this year, what with the big finale of their long custody battle. In May, Jenelle gave up on going to trial to fight for full custody in favor of mediation with Barbara, and they were able to agree on an official visitation schedule while Babs maintained custody. But even though she did agree on the terms, and even though she chose to give up her shot at full custody by going to mediation, she still wouldn't shut up about it. She went off on a series of rants about her evil mother and how she wouldn't let her have her son back, like no one understands what actually happened and how things actually work. And then, in a remarkably bad move, she released a video that made it look like Barbara was driving drunk with Jace in the car. In the video, filmed in early May, Jenelle and her fiancé, Davidson, accosted Barbara in the parking lot of a restaurant where she was trying to have dinner with friends, and with Jace and 2 other kids. They yelled at her, accusing her of being drunk. She obviously was not. She kept telling them to stop filming her, but they wouldn't, and they were actually being pretty aggressive. Which was probably way scarier for Jace than riding in a car with his grandmother after she'd had a glass of wine. It was a really bizarre video, and while Jenelle clearly thought she was getting some real dirt on her mum, she just made herself look bad. And now, in a sneak peek from next week's episode of Teen Mum 2, Jenelle is explaining what happened. Spoiler, it gets even crazier. In the clip, she explains to a producer that on that fateful day, she'd called Barbara and asked to see Jace, but Barbara told her that she needed to start calling earlier in the day if she wanted to make plans. Which is fair. Barbara can't drop everything she and Jace have planned the moment Jenelle decides she wants to see him. That day, Babs told Jenelle that she had plans with her friends and it's Cinco de Mayo, which made her a little suspicious. So she did what any reasonable person would do. She grabbed her fiancé and headed over to Babs' town to track her down. When they got to the restaurant, David peeked in a window and saw Barbara, heaven forbid, with a glass of wine, and he started taking pictures like the creep he is. Jenelle, sober crusader, stormed in the restaurant and accused her mother of drinking while she had to drive home with Jace and the 2 other kids with them. Barbara told her that she just had 1 sip of a glass of wine, and that they just put it on the table when David started taking photos. I said, "That's drinking, what are you talking about?" Jenelle says incredulously. Because let's be real, it's not like she'd have any clue about the concept of having 1 drink with dinner and then going on about your life. So then after that, I went back to the house, walked up to the door, knocked on it, no one answered, knocked on it again, no one answered, she recounts. Then David pulled his old trick of peeping in a window, and he saw that Babs' car was in the garage, meaning that she was ignoring Jenelle. And that simply would not do. Then I ended up calling the police, she says, and when officers arrived, she actually told them I don't know if my mom's in there, like passed out when the kids are there. Police knocked on the door and Barbara answered it for them and told them that she didn't want Jenelle on her property. And that infuriated Jenelle, because she banged on the door for 2 hours before police came. Just think about this whole story. Barbara is out with her grandson and some friends, having a nice time, and her wild daughter shows up and makes such a scene that she has to leave. Then, when she gets home, Jenelle shows up there, too, and knocks on the door for 2 hours straight, which, by the way, must have been scary for Jace, too. Does Jenelle seriously think this story makes her look good in any way? Apparently so, because she ends the story by telling her producer that Barbara's lawyers are probably scared she got that footage. Probably not, because we all know how the custody case turned out. But yeah, you tell Jenelle.